South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Hi, I'm Kurt Angle. I represented the United States in the Olympics in 1996 and won a gold medal. Then I parlayed that into a pro wrestling career. I saw a commercial a few years ago.
Tunnel to Towers Foundation made a promise.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation is paying off the mortgages for Gold Star families with young children. I thought, this is really cool. I want to be a part of it. My dad served in the Army for 30 years. We didn't have a lot of money, but he made sure we had what we needed. He set a great example for all of us. He died in a construction accident my freshman year in high school. When he died, we didn't have any income coming in, and we ended up being forced to move out of our house. I was devastated. So I understand what these families are going through, and to have an organization like Tunnel to Towers come in and pick you up and carry you and give you a home to live in, I think that's just amazing. I'd like to ask you to donate $11 a month to support these efforts by going to t2t.org or calling 1-844-BRAVEST.
The following is a Race Day Las Vegas presentation in association with Siraco Productions Limited on the Race Day Las Vegas Radio Network.
Live from the gaming capital of the world, time for Race Day Las Vegas, covering the sport of kings with a Las Vegas perspective. Now to the race desk with your host, Ralph Siraco.
From the backstretch to the turf club, at the race books and on the internet, to all horse players around the world, a good morning. All righty. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Race Day Las Vegas radio program for this Wednesday morning. We come to you live and direct from the gaming capital of the world at the South Point Studios at the South Point Hotel Casino Complex on Las Vegas Boulevard in this gaming capital. And, of course, over the South Point Studios streaming network at YouTube. We welcome you to the show as we start out another week of covering the great sport of kings, Las Vegas style. And, of course, we welcome all of those listening on our anchor radio station here in town, Sports Talk 1400 AM, 107.1 FM. Our websites, racedaylasvegas.com, .vegas, .world, .global, iPhone, Android, and Google phone. Got you covered with the phone apps. The device apps, I should say. The YouTube app, of course, you can see and hear us, and the KSHP app that you can get also. You can hear us through the radio station and anywhere you get your podcasting as well. We welcome you to the show. Well, we are now getting into we're just on the cusp of the transition into summertime racing. After all, first day of summer is on the 20th, and today is the 11th. So we got 9 days until summertime. But I can tell you the summertime weather has already hit Las Vegas, Nevada. It's 89 degrees right now outside. No wind, beautiful sunshine, 89 degrees. We're going to get up to 109 today. Now, when you get up to around 109 here in Las Vegas, we are under an extreme heat warning, which means you got to stay hydrated. If you're going to be out anywhere today, make sure you take a lot of water, drink a lot of water, stay hydrated. If you become dehydrated, by the time you know you are dehydrated, it'll be too late. So keep that in mind. Just stay hydrated out there. Don't forget the kids can't stay out too long in the sun. Neither can the pets. And if you have older neighbors or older family members, check on them because this type of weather really gets to the senior citizens. So check on them as well here in Las Vegas. Now, as far as around the country is concerned, looks like the weather is going to be pretty good around the country, although there's going to be hot spots as well. Tampa, for example, Tampa Bay will be 93 degrees today, 84 in Miami. New York's even going to get 84 in sunshine. Chicago, 92. You've got 81 degrees in Southern California and Los Angeles. And Phoenix, Arizona, they say it's going to be 108. So we're going to get 1 degree higher than Phoenix, Arizona today. So it looks like we're the hot spot in the nation today here in Las Vegas. But as far as the precipitation is concerned for any of the racing around the country, it looks pretty darn good in all the racing centers around the country for today. Well, we are now past the Triple Crown. And I'm going to ask my handicappers, of course, to give me an assessment of their thoughts about the Triple Crown and the aftermath of the Belmont Stakes. The Kentucky Derby winner, the Belmont Stakes winner, Sovereignty, definitely stamped himself as the leader in the 3-year-old division. No doubt about that. He's going to stay at Saratoga, they say, and he's going to train there at Saratoga for Belmont stable there at Saratoga. And I guess they'll be looking for either the Jim Dandy, which is the prep for the Travers, or go right into the Travers. We'll wait and see about that. But those are the two races, it seems as if, is next on the schedule for Sovereignty as he kind of recuperates from his Belmont Stakes win. Darth Vader is going to go to the Personal Ensign in New York, and Raging Torrent, big sprint winner there that beat the two big stakes horses there in the stakes race, the big sprint race there on Belmont Stakes Day, is going to the Pat O'Brien. He's going back to Southern California for Doug O'Neill, and he'll be going in the Pat O'Brien at Del Mar, which is right around the corner now. As far as the Belmont Stakes is concerned, with all the stats there, look, we all know that the Belmont Stakes, on Belmont Stakes Day, because they canceled the 2 turf races, they had to cancel all of those race-over-race events, the pools, the pick 5s, the pick 4s, even the pick 3s, because the 2 big, had a frog in my throat. In any case, the 2 big stakes races on the grass were stuck right kind of in the middle of the entire card on Belmont Stakes Day. And so with the cancellation of those 2 on Belmont Stakes Day, they had to cancel all of those race-over-race pick 4s, pick 5, pick 3s. They took a lot of damage out of the expected big handle on Belmont Stakes Day at Saratoga. But I will say this. that the folks that were there at for the Belmont Festival, the folks that were there at Saratoga on Belmont Stakes Day, decided to use the money that they probably would have put in those race over racer picks, and they kept betting the races there because it wasn't down much. The Belmont Stakes, itself was the race itself, just the race itself, was up 5% in wagers over 2024. Now, the entire day was down a little bit, but not as much as they thought. So it turned out to be okay as far as that's concerned. The Belmont Stakes on TV, on Fox, saw 5 million people watch the Belmont Stakes on television. It was the most watched sporting event on TV anywhere on Saturday. So that turned out to be good news as well. So the Belmont Stakes, although those two big cancellations right in the middle of all those other pools didn't do as much damage as one might thought it would have. People were out there, they wanted to bet, and they did. They found other pools to get into. Now, as far as Sovereignty is concerned, we know he's staying at Saratoga. The runner-up, Journalism, who also won the Preakness Stakes, as you know, went back to California. They say it's going to be a day-by-day situation for Journalism. They're not ruling out going back to Saratoga for either the Jim Dandy, which will be on July 26th, or the Travers Stakes, which is the big race for 3-year-olds during the regular Saratoga meeting on the 23rd of August. So we just may see Sovereignty and Journalism go at it again, and again at Saratoga. We might see that. Journalism, as I say, is back in Southern California. They're going to take it day by day to see what's happening there. We do know for a fact, at least the way the schedule maps out, that these two top 3-year-olds in the country are going to have to mix it up with the older horses later on, and certainly in the Breeders' Cup Classic, if that is the ultimate goal for them. All right. Coming up next week is going to be the LA County Fair meet at Los Alamitos. It starts on Friday, the 20th. It'll start on the first day of summer. And they have 3 big stakes races there, the Bertrando, the Los Alamitos Derby, and the Great Lady M. And they'll be run during the meet at the LA County Fair meet at Los Alamitos. As far as Santa Anita is concerned, the Hollywood meeting wraps up this week. You know they're going to have a special racing card tomorrow at Santa Anita. They're going to run Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 4 more days left of the Hollywood meet. And, of course, the finale, the big final stakes race on the card for the meet will be the San Juan Capistrano, which is at 1 3/4 miles on the grass course. It encompasses the entire layout of the grass course at Santa Anita, starting way up on the hill, coming down over the main track, past the stands, and then 1 loop around the inner oval. That'll be the San Juan Capistrano, and that happens on, I believe, closing day Sunday. So we're looking forward to that, that's for sure. And as far as some news, Belmont weekend buyers. I'm going to give you the buyer figures for the Belmont weekend. The highest buyer figure on the weekend was registered by Ways and Means, who won the Beto Roses Stakes. Ways and Means ran a 111 buyer over the weekend, the Belmont weekend buyers. Sovereignty ran the second highest buyer in winning the Belmont Stakes, ran 109, a 109 buyer there. Raging Torrent, who won that Met Mile, got a 106 buyer, and the only other 2 horses that got a buyer that was higher than 100 points was Bookham Dano, who won the True North, got a 102 buyer, and Deterministic, who won the Manhattan, got a 100 buyer even. That the big buyers on the Belmont weekend. And news comes out for you folks around the country who are players of phone apps. The Daily Racing Form phone app was purchased by First Racing, First Technology. It was sold to First Technology, and they will be handling now all of the accounts that the DRF Bets betting account wagering had. It's just going to switch over to them. They say there's going to be, it'll be a seamless switch over. So First Technology, owned by First Racing and Gaming, has taken over the phone accounts at the Daily Racing Forum. And we understand, and I'm going to wait until I get Jonathan Hardoon on, that it's starting to really brew on the meet down there at the fairgrounds in New Orleans. As you know, there's been a dispute as far as the gaming machines are concerned, et cetera, in New Orleans, and that the owner, which is Churchill Downs, said that if they didn't get what they needed out of that legislation or that ruling, that they weren't going to open. We're not going to open the fairgrounds meet. Now, the fairgrounds is a big meet that starts right around Thanksgiving and rolls right through the springtime and has very important prep races for the Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaks. But that's really starting to brew down there. And there's been quite a few postings on X about what's going on with that. I'm going to get the latest from Jonathan Hardoon when we get him on board. As you know, our Jerry Jackowitz is on his month-long vacation now, but Jerry J's Power Pages will continue to operate. And so although Jerry doesn't have anything today because there's no Aqueduct, there's no New York or Southern California, which are the two circuits he does, when those races do come up, when they come back, both in New York and Belmont, both New York, where Belmont back at Aqueduct now. When that resumes and when Santa Anita resumes for the final of the Hollywood meeting, we'll give you some picks off of his Power Pages as well. So on today's show, we got Jonathan Hardoon standing by. If it's Wednesday, it means time to get to Dwayne Colucci from the Rampart. He'll be with us. Rich Eng and John Lindo as well. And so taking a look at what's happening this week, it's kind of a lull week after all of those massive stakes races, et cetera, that we had all last weekend and all last week at the Belmont Festival. It's going to be a little light this week. Delaware Park, however, will have 5 stakes races on Saturday. 1 Grade 3, but it includes the Delaware Oaks and the Delaware Derby. Monmouth Park will have 4 stakes races on tap on Saturday, 2 Grade 3s and 2 others. And Churchill Downs will have a couple of stakes races. Belmont Aqueduct will have 1 New York Stallion Series stakes race. And Santa Anita will have 2 stakes races on Saturday that include 1 Grade 3. And, of course, on Sunday, you'll have 2 stakes races at Parks Racing, and you'll have a stakes race at Laurel, Hawthorne, Monmouth, and, of course, the closing day San Juan Capistrano at Santa Anita. And for those of you looking across the pond, a very prestigious meet is about to start, Ascot Racing. Ascot starts on, it started on Tuesday, started yesterday. And so Ascot will run, it starts this coming Tuesday, and it'll have a 5-day run to Saturday, the 21st of June, just in case you want to take a look at those Ascot races, because some of the horses that race there will be coming over for the Breeders' Cup. And you know Wesley Ward has always got stacked up with his horses that he sends over to Ascot for that very prestigious meeting. So we'll wait and see about that. All right, you're up to date on most of the stuff that you need to be up to date on. We'll take our first break, and when we come back, we'll give you your racing menu, and then off to the races with our handicappers. What did they think about the Triple Crown? We'll wait and see as they continue their morning activities around the country on the racetracks in the morning. We'll be right back.
South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
All right, back on Race Day Las Vegas. Time to go to your racing menu for today. Reminding you, as we always do, the first post times we broadcast on the show each and every day reflect that of the Pacific time zone, because that's where we're at here in Las Vegas in the Pacific time zone. These will be the first post times that roll out in our race book here at South Point today. If you're listening in the Pacific time zone, no problem. These will be your first post times. If you're listening anywhere else around the world in many multitudes of different time zones, adjust to whatever time zone you're in to the Pacific time zone, then you'll be right on the mark and you won't miss anything like I miss Mom and Dad. Okay, we begin with Belterra Park. Belterra Park has 8 races and their first post time is at 9:35. Delaware Park is next. Delaware Park has 7 races. Their first post time at Delaware Park today is at 9:35. Then we go to Churchill Downs. Churchill Downs has 9 races today. They got a nice big pick 6 jackpot carryover. Their carryover $699,102. $699,102 in the Churchill Downs pick 6 jackpot carryover. They've got 8 races. Their first post time at Churchill Downs is set at 9:45. 9:45 at Churchill. Finger Lakes is next. Finger Lakes has 8 races. Their first post time at Finger Lakes is set at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. at Finger Lakes. Horseshoe Indianapolis. They have 9 races today. They have 8 thoroughbred races, 2 of which are stakes races, the 7th and 8th. The 9th and final is a quarter horse race, so they've got 9 thoroughbreds with 2 stakes races, 1 quarter horse race. 9 races overall, 8 thoroughbreds with 2 stakes races and 1 quarter horse race. First post time at Horseshoe Indianapolis is set at 11:10. 11:10 there. Presque Isle Downs is next. Presque Isle Downs has a first post time at Presque Isle at, by the way, they have 8 races there. First post time is 12:30. Penn National is next. Penn National has 7 races, and their first post time at Penn National is set at 2:45. 2:45 at Penn National. Canterbury Park. Canterbury Park has, they've got 9 races. The final race is going to be a quarter horse futurity for 2-year-olds. And the 8th race will be the Derby for 3-year-olds for quarter horses. So the 8th and 9th races are quarter horses. First 7 are thoroughbreds. 9 races overall. And a first post time at Canterbury Park is at 3 p.m. 3 o'clock. First post at Canterbury Park. All righty. Let's go to Jonathan Hardoon standing by. Jonathan, good morning.
Good morning, Ralph. How are you?
I'm doing fine, my man. Now, we've had a chance to relax and kind of reflect on the Triple Crown. I think the most dramatic of the Triple Crown races was the Preakness with that crazy run that Journalism had. I think the most impressive win was the Belmont Stakes with Sovereignty, and I think the most solid win was the Kentucky Derby with Sovereignty.
Well, you about covered it, and rightfully so. I think you hit all 3 races on the nose, and the good news for horse racing is that this is a pretty good crop of 3-year-olds, Ralph. These horses are all getting better. Meanwhile, they keep running in basically the same order. You have Sovereignty winning, you have Journalism running second, and then you have Baeza and I guess Rodriguez filling out the rest. But it's a good group of horses. There's no question about it, and hopefully we'll see them through the summer.
Now, the disappointment for me personally was Baeza. I thought he had a little bit more upside than he had. I was wrong on that. But boy, there's no doubt that Sovereignty is one solid right at the top of the 3-year-old division. I know a lot of people think that if Journalism gets another shot at him, that he might beat him. He might. I don't know. I think they're both horses that are quality horses. And I think that it's going to be interesting when they start mixing it up with the handicap division a little bit later on.
Well, I mean, there's no question. Sovereignty beat Journalism on the square the both times that they faced off against each other. Listen, true, Journalism fought in all 3 races and had a tough race before that in the Santa Anita race. So maybe if he comes in freshened up, he'd make it a closer race. But at this point, listen, Sovereignty's done nothing wrong, Ralph. He's just really a terrific horse. I think he has 7 career starts, and he's improved in each and every one of them.
Jonathan, looking at the Triple Crown now, et cetera, there's always debate after, the debate this year is because Sovereignty didn't run in the Preakness, and he won both the other 2 Triple Crown races. So one is thinking that maybe with a little more time in between the races now, he might have participated in the Preakness. He might have won the Preakness, and he might have been another Triple Crown winner. But the Triple Crown has always been set almost in stone in modern days, which is an accomplishment that the horses who have won it have done. And now they're kind of vacillating back and forth on whether they should take a look at it or not. As a matter of fact, that they posed that question to the folks at Belmont, at New York Racing Association. They said, listen, we're keeping it right where it is until we open Belmont Park. When we open the big Belmont Park, then, the debate can start, or at least the conversations on it should start. I don't know. I think I'm a traditionalist. I don't think they ought to change it.
I agree with you. I think it's absolutely ridiculous to think, to want to change the rules. The Triple Crown is the Triple Crown because it's hard to do. What do you want to do? Have a Triple Crown winner every year and make it easy for them? That's like when you can't hit a basket, so let's lower the basket, and this way everyone could dunk. It is the way it is, and it is the way it is for a reason. And again, it's supposed to be difficult. That's what separates champions from other horses. The fact that Mott decided to pass the Preakness, well, that's his prerogative. He's the trainer. I'm sure he conferred with the owners, and that's what they decided, and they're allowed to do that. It's their horse. They pay the bills, and obviously, if the horse won the Triple Crown, he would be worth that much more money. But to the connections, I don't think it was about the money. Obviously, Godolphin, they have all the money in the world, and they did the right thing by the horse. And you could even see in the Belmont, Ralph, Sovereignty just looked like the fresher horse. Journalism took the lead, turning for home, and Sovereignty went by him like he just looked like the fresher horse, and that certainly may have made a difference. Maybe he would have won the Triple Crown. We'll never know. But they did what they did, and please don't change the rules. That's ridiculous.
Well, I know that, and I agree with you there, but there'll be some conversations. There's no doubt about it. Now, before it became the Triple Crown, before it became that big prize in horse racing, the Belmont and the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness, they were all, separate races that were raced at different times, etc. It has changed, and the actual length of the races have changed. Now, some years, we're talking way back when. I mean, in the early part of the last century, etc., where they, not only would they be maybe the dates have changed, but and the distances, but one race might have run in front of the other one, etc. But since it became like the Triple Crown, the pinnacle of winning a championship, the most coveted prize, it has been set in this way, except for 1 year, and of course that was the COVID year. But that's it. So. And
they were forced to change the distance of the Belmont because it was now run at Saratoga. So the last 2 years, it was 1.25 miles. For years, they were talking about shortening the Belmont Stakes to 1.25 miles, and they thought 1.5 miles was too challenging and everything else that goes with it. But again, I'm like you, Ralph. I believe leave things the way they are.
And you know what? When you look at the way Sovereignty passed journalism and was pulling away, I think he could have got an extra 1/8 of a mile real easy. No question about that. Yeah, he
probably would have won by more. He would have won by a bigger margin.
Yeah. Well, actually, an extra 1/4 of a mile, but nevertheless, that case in point. It was a big closing day, I thought, at Saratoga on Sunday after that, because they did run the Jaipur and the Manhattan. The Jaipur was won by A.G. Bullet. That was a horse that was picked on the show by Rich Hang. John Velasquez picked up the mount when Flavien Prat decided to stay at Churchill Downs and ride for Brad Cox in that race. Velasquez picked up his second win of the day, and for trainer Richard Baltus winning the Jaipur, paying $7.70. And the Manhattan was won by Deterministic. Miguel Clement wins another one after his father's passing, and that was Kendrick Carmouche's second win at $13.60. So Linda Rice had a couple of wins. You got Junior Alvarado had a couple of wins. Carmouche had a couple. Dylan Davis had a couple. Junior Alvarado had a couple. A lot of guys doubled up, but Irad Ortiz Jr. obviously was the guy of the day. He won 3 races at Saratoga, and that just about took care of every one of the races at Saratoga on Sunday. So it was a good
And
day.
congratulations to Miguel Clement. It was his first Grade 1 since he took over the training after his father passed away. It was an extremely emotional winner's circle. He was being interviewed by his wife, Acacia Courtney,
Yeah,
who works
that was
Fox.
that was
Yeah.
that was precious. That was.
Yeah, so, a lot of good feelings, I'm sure. And he got the monkey off his back once you win that first Grade 1. And he's going to be loaded for Saratoga like his father was every year. They have nothing but terrific horses. And then the owners are all sticking with him, showing loyalty. So that's a nice thing also.
Of course, like I said, Flavien Prat passed up the stakes races at Saratoga. Remember, these races were supposed to be run on Saturday, and he had a commitment on Sunday.
Right, exactly.
To Brad Cox for Churchill Downs for the Matt Win. The Matt Win had had 3 late scratches in the 7-horse field, but East Avenue took him all the way under Luis Saez. Was Brendan Walsh's second win and Saez's third win, but it was the second win for Saez and Brendan Walsh on the day. East Avenue paid $4.94 as the favorite there. Burnham Square was second. Coal Battle was third. And the horse that Pratt stayed to ride, Final Gambit, never picked up his feet and ran off the board.
Well, once everyone scratched, East End Avenue basically found himself on a loose, lonely lead, and he took advantage of it. I don't know how much you want to put into a full-horse field, but it does happen.
Whoa. Go ahead.
Sorry, somebody.
Yeah.
They don't listen. Anyway, it is what it is, and that's it. By the way, Ralph, we have to talk about the chance of Fairgrounds not running this year, and
I was just
actually
going to get around to that. The pick 6 at Churchill paid $107,469 and 63 cents on Sunday. Yet there is a carryover there, so I'd imagine there were at least 2 tickets.
Yeah, that's what it looked like, and it's interesting because Churchill Downs seems to buy these racetracks, and everybody gets all excited that Churchill's coming in, but all they do is end up closing them. They did it to Calder. They did it to Arlington. Now they want to do it to Fairgrounds. I don't know.
Well, now let me ask you this. I know there's been a lot of chatter on X, et cetera, about this, and I know that if you remember, they made that announcement about possibly not running at the Fairgrounds, I think a couple of months ago at least. And nobody really thought about it. But what's the reason?
Obviously, it has to do with the machines, the slot machines or the race. I don't know. I think they lost a lot. I'm not familiar with it. I just was reading the headlines and I started reading the Pollock report. The interesting thing is that Fairgrounds has all these races that are headed are point races, 100-point races. The Risen Star. All these preps for the Derby. So where are they going to be run? I guess they'll be run now at Churchill. So Churchill moved the Arlington Million to Churchill. I guess they'll now be moving the Risen Star to Churchill. So it's not good when you buy racetracks and close them down, especially big, tracks that have been around forever. It's just, it's a bad sign of the times.
Yeah, but Jonathan, first of all, you got the Louisiana Derby. That's 100 points. You got the Risen Star. You've got and the Fairgrounds Oaks for the 3-year-old fillies. You've got big prep races for those 2 big races at Churchill Downs, but they can't run those races at Churchill Downs because that's the time of the year when Turfway Park is running. And I doubt if they're going to bring a race like the Louisiana
Risen
Derby.
Star,
and the Risen Star on a synthetic track at Turfway Park. It's hard enough to get them to get contenders for the Kentucky Derby for their 1 prep race, and that is, of course, the Jack Ruby. So it's going to be interesting to see, and there's got to be – I know darn well that when you get down into there, Louisiana, and the politicians down there are just not going to sit around and let that happen to that racetrack. There's going to be quite a bit of news coming out of there before that threat is actually, induced.
Is followed through with. Well, let's see. Hopefully you're right, Ralph. I mean, nobody wants to see Fairgrounds closed. Well, where are all those horses going to run? I mean, Louis, I don't know what they're going to do, but it's going to be a mess. And by the way, who owns Turfway Park? Churchill Downs. That's how they put in Jeff Ruby for 100 points or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it's their track. So.
Well, if they keep buying tracks and closing down racetracks, I guess they'll monopolize the whole thing. But it seems to me that outside of Churchill Downs proper, that racetrack that they keep throwing millions and millions of dollars each year to improve each section of the place. I mean, it looks like a huge, massive, a huge, massive place for horse
operation.
racing. Yeah. That, you got to think that their interests in other places, it looks like their interests in other places are like casino gambling rather than horse racing.
Yeah, but you would think they're in the horse racing business. Yeah. Just like you said, they put millions and millions of dollars into these things. It's just strange that every track they seem to buy lately, they close. I mean, I don't know. But it can't be bad luck. It's just, I don't know. I just think it's bad. It's bad for the game.
I do too, and I'm sure that cooler heads will prevail. They'll get some kind of a deal done, that's for sure. But, Churchill Downs cannot be the only monument to racing out there. We've got to keep racing, healthy in other parts of the country. And by the way, just to wrap it up, Gaming, who was scheduled to go and was scratched in that race at Churchill Downs, wound up just having an easy afternoon exercise and winning the Affirm Stakes at Santa Anita on Sunday. So, whatever.
Another 4-horse field, Ralph? Was that what that was?
Yes, sir. It was another 4-horse field. All right. Well, let's get started. We do have some racing today. Talking about Churchill Downs, they are racing today, and they have 9 races. They look like good competitive races, too. And I know you have a Churchill Downs sheet for today. So we'll ask for a pick there, Jonathan.
Okay, let's go to the 5th race today, Ralph. It's a mile and 3/8 on the turf, and they're on the grass, and obviously this is a turf-only selection. I like the number 4 horse in here, Parish Lane. This is a 4-year-old filly from the Eddie Keneally barn. He took over the training 3 starts back, and the horse has run super in all 3 starts for her. Luan Machado aboard to ride. He rode this horse to victory last time out. Eddie Keneally's the trainer. He's hitting at 32%. Number 4, Parish Lane, wins today's 5th race out at Churchill Downs.
All right, 5th race at Churchill Downs. Number 4, Parish Lane. The 4 in the 5th race, anchor in both the early pick 4 and early pick 5 out at Churchill Downs. And, of course, you got a full sheet at your website.
JONHARDOON.com. And by the way, I thought it was like 5 o'clock post Eastern time, but I forgot. It's Wednesday. That's tomorrow. So today, regular, 9:45 your time for Churchill Downs.
Tomorrow will be Thursdays are the twilight post time. So today it'll be 9:45 a.m. Pacific time. And in the 5th race, you like the 4-horse Parish Lane. All right, thanks a lot, Jonathan. You keep an eye on what's going on there with the Louisiana Downs stuff. And in Louisiana at the fairgrounds stuff.
Fairgrounds, yeah. Right. They may end up running at Louisiana Downs.
They might run the fairgrounds soaks at Louisiana Downs. Who knows? But in any case,
you fixed the problem for them, Ralph. You fixed it with
I don't think
blip.
I don't think that's the fix they want, though. Trust me.
No.
Have a good day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks, Ralph. Stay safe and be well.
All right, you got it. All right, coming up next will be Rich Eng and his thoughts about the Triple Crown, etc. So don't go away. We continue on this Wednesday Race Day show. We'll be right back.
Here we are in Houston, opening up our first veteran village. This beautiful building that is going to house 161 homeless veterans. Any veteran that risks their lives and they're struggling with PTSD, mental illness, addiction. We're also building what I call comfort homes, 500 square foot homes. These are for older homeless veterans, so they have their own space and give them back some of their dignity, some of their independence, and most certainly give them back their life. Go to T2T.org to learn how you can change a veteran's life forever.
South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rock and dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grandview Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show. Every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grandview Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grandview Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby.
All right, back on Race Day Las Vegas. Time to go out to Rich Eng standing by. Richie, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Ralphie. Good morning, viewers. Good morning, listeners.
Well, it's been an interesting Triple Crown. Your thoughts now on this year's Triple Crown?
Well, I mirror and echo a lot of what you and Jonathan were talking about. Sovereignty beat journalism twice on the square, Ralph. And we'll never know the answer about the Preakness because Sovereignty wasn't there. And as far as some of the other horses, now we have to take a look and see if there's any fresh blood that might come up and challenge a horse like Sovereignty, because right now Sovereignty has proven to be the best of the division right now.
Yeah, that's for certain. Yeah, there's always some of those late starters out there looming that didn't get started early enough that could be making impact later on in the year as we move to the where the 3-year-olds start mixing it up with the 4-year-olds. In any case, it was an interesting weekend of racing at the Belmont Festival. And although they canceled the 2 turf races, they did well in handle and as far as viewership on the Belmont Festival. And, of course, the 2 big stakes races on Sunday, the grass stakes races, where you nailed AG Bullet right on the money.
Beautiful ride by John Velasquez. I mean, he just sat a perfect trip, sitting second, third off the speed, and then took over and powered home. And I heard you guys talking about deterministic. What an emotional win for the Clement family. Miguel Clement, his first grade 1. His father passing away recently. Acacia Clement interviewing her husband on Fox Sports. That was a great moment in television history, but it was very emotional watching that deterministic win.
Yeah, that's for sure. And all in all, even with the bad weather that kind of weaved its way through the entire Triple Crown, each one of the venues that held one of the Triple Crown races did well under the circumstances, I thought. And now we move to the summer and the fall. It's going to be interesting to see how it develops. You, of course, have a Southern California sheet every day, a Southern California handicapping sheet. And I know that Santa Anita winds up the Hollywood meeting come Sunday. And I'm assuming that when Los Al starts the following week and their short meet for the LA County Fair meet there, that you'll be doing a sheet for Los Al.
Yeah, I actually like doing the Los Al meet. It's been a very profitable meet year after year. I know a lot of horse players in town take the meet off and from Southern California racing, but I tell you what, sometimes you can turn lemons into lemonade, Ralph, because they still pay for nice winners. You beat a 3-5 favorite, all of a sudden your horizontal bet explodes. I like playing Los Al.
Yeah, it's an interesting layout there where that long stretch that they have there, and many people think, well, the long stretch will always favor the closers. That is not the case. Usually it still plays very fair, but stretch runners do have enough time to run down the stretch if they have the closing kick to do so. So it's an interesting configuration, that's for sure. Well, Richie, I know that you do a Southern California sheet, and there's no racing in Southern California, but when you come on Wednesdays, you always have a pick for us, so do you?
Yeah, let's go to Churchill Downs, race number 9. It's a mile and a 16th, the starter allowance 20. Let's go with the rail horse, the 1, Keen Cat, 5-2 in the morning line. Brian Hernandez is the modern-day Calvin Borel. He loves to hug the rail, loves to get through on the rail. Well, he draws the rail, so he'll save all the ground on the 1, Keen Cat. This horse should finish, too, Ralph. Keen Cat in the 9th.
All right, the 9th and final race, number 1, Keen Cat, the 1 in the 9th and final today at Churchill Downs. Richie's pick off of that winner on Sunday for us. And Richie, we will talk to you tomorrow.
Hey, thanks, Ralph. Good luck, everybody.
All right, now we're going to go to Dwayne Colucci standing by for the Rampart. Dwayne, good morning.
What's up, Ralph? How we doing today?
I want your assessment of the Triple Crown this year is what I want.
I tell you, it was great. I mean, when journalism made that move, I kind of thought the race was over. Taking command there, sitting much closer than usual, and Sovereignty is just a monster. I mean, what a great racehorse, and what a fabulous decision by Bill Mott. Even though it was frowned upon, he obviously made the right decision. I mean, the horse just looked so full of himself. He's a monster, and to just put journalism, who is a top-notch racehorse and definitely deserves a ton of credit for running in all three legs. The way he put him away, it was just fabulous. And, unfortunately, my pick by Asa was getting worked over on the backside, but he still finished third. So we got all we wanted. Top three finishers of the Derby, finished 1, 2, 3 in the same exact order in the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga. And like you said, what a fabulous, fabulous festival. A little suspect there on the card there, removing the two turf races and hurting the structure of the pick fours and pick fives on Belmont Day. But then Sunday was just fabulous, and credit to Rich Heng as well. I tweeted out Ed Bullitt as a top-notch pick. So fond of Richie Baltus and what he's a fabulous conditioner, and that horse just really kicked clear to cap it all off on Sunday. So it was a great racing festival. And the Triple Crown was all we could ask for, and definitely proof that we really don't need to separate these races, in my opinion, any further. If journalism could do it, a lot of these horses, if, you're going after the Triple Crown, you have to make an effort. And, even though journalism wasn't, credit to his team and McCarthy as well. What a fabulous, fabulous three race horses that we have. And I'd love to see journalism and Baeza go at it in the Pacific Classic. And we're going to see what the East Coast brings with Sovereignty. I heard Jim Dandy buzzings, and, that'll be against Sandman and a few others. And, that'll lead right into the Travers, the Midsummer Derby, which is, my favorite race meet in the entire world at Saratoga.
I will say that two horses of the 3-year-old division that were a little bit of a disappointment as far as what I expected them to do was one that you mentioned, Sandman and Baeza. I thought that they would, get the job done here and there, but they were close, but no cigar. I guess they're the best of the second echelon.
Yeah, well, don't buy too much. Watch Baeza, definitely, without a doubt. It's just he some horses don't like Saratoga. You know that, Ralph. Mm-hmm. Look at the great race horses that have lost at Saratoga, whether it was Forgo, whether it was Secretariat, Man of War. All these horses lost at Saratoga. So, I think Baeza, once he gets back to his own neck of the woods, he'll be much more competitive. But I was a little disappointed as well. I just, I'm leaning on an excuse, but there really was none. Journalism and Sovereignty are far better at this point, and we'll see if Baeza could progress as well as Sandman, who, he definitely has a lot of potential as well, and we're going to see that battle probably in the Jim Dandy.
Well, we'll wait and see about that for sure, and if, as you say, the 3-year-olds in Southern California stayed there for the Pacific Classic, it'll be the first time this year that the 3-year-olds have been running in the Triple Crown races will be facing older horses, because as we know, the Pacific Classic is one of the very first races on the calendar that is for 3-year-olds and up, and we'll wait and see what the older division holds there for the Pacific Classic in Southern California when Del Mar starts. And we're right around the corner to those two fabulous meets that we enjoy immensely in the summertime, Del Mar and Saratoga, because those are the days that we have breakfast, lunch, and dinner in the race book playing those races, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But before that, we got to stick in Los Alamitos, and like Richie said, always an interesting meeting at Los Al.
Yeah, I definitely look forward to Los Al, too. I'm one of the few, Ralph. You know me. I'm a massive horse player, and I used to love Fairplex as well. I mean, I used to do great. Me and my dad had some of our best days at Fairplex, and I was sad to see that go because you had a bias, and you had great, race riders that were acclimated, whether it was Flores, Pedrosa. There were angles there that you could play upon, and that's what the horse player looks for. When you're handicapping, you look for any angle that you could get, and there's definitely some some angles at Los Alamitos, that's a long stretch run. It's definitely testing and a lot different than Santa Anita or Del Mar. But, I enjoy Los Al. I enjoy horse racing in general. And, you find me a track, I'm going to bet on it. So I love that. And I'm definitely prepared for Del Mar. Touching upon what you said earlier about the fairgrounds, I do a show based out of Baton Rouge there, Ralph, weekly. So, I'm in close proximity with those guys. They were kind of shocked when I announced it to them a couple of months back. But I am in contact with Michael Baychuk at times, and he's on the Louisiana Horse Racing Board, and they're very, very concerned. Churchill, no slots. They're not going to run a race meet, and it's so disappointing to see that. But I will keep you guys updated. As I said, I do that show with Jimmy Ott weekly, so we're definitely going to have, a lot of information regarding fairgrounds upcoming, and it's very important to keep these racetracks alive. I mean, that's the oldest racetrack in America, and those people are concerned. Not only do you have that fabulous race meet, but you have that Jazz and Heritage Festival, and it's so much culture down there in Louisiana, in the New Orleans and Baton Rouge area, that those people do not want to see that racetrack go. I'll tell you that right now.
You'll be our point man for that developing story there. That's well. Well, I know, Dwayne, you got a pick, so lay it on us, buddy.
Yeah, Bourbon Serengeti in the 6th race. Richard Dutrow off the claim here at Churchill Downs. We're looking at about 7-2. He's putting Luis Saez on the horse. I think it's an excellent move. Saez broke this horse's maiden back at Churchill, so he has a win over the course. He was the favorite at this level the following race after he broke his maiden, but I think the trainer switch is just massive here. Richard Dutrow is an amazing conditioner off the claim. I love this horse. I think he's definitely going to take a lot of action at the windows as well, Ralph. So I'm definitely looking at this horse, number 9, Bourbon Serengeti at Churchill Downs, race 6 today.
All right, Churchill Downs, race 6, number 9, Bourbon Serengeti, the 9 in the 6th at Churchill, from Dwayne Colucci. And of course, Dwayne, we'll check you out at the Rampart up there, and of course, I'll talk to you next week.
Definitely, Ralph, and thanks for all the support. You're the greatest. Definitely can't do it without this show, without you guys promoting my fabulous racing sportsbook at the Rampart.
They got to get up there and see that thing. If they're in that part of the country and they don't, they have missed the boat, that's for sure. Thanks a lot, Dwayne.
Thanks, Ralph.
All right, we're going to go now to John Lendo standing by. John, good morning.
Good morning, Ralph. How you doing?
Well, I'm doing fine. Assessment now with a little bit of time from the last of the 3 races in the Triple Crown. Your assessment of the Triple Crown?
Well, we saw a lot of stuff. We saw weather. We saw controversy, whether it be the journalism trip in the Preakness or the races being postponed last Saturday at Belmont and Saratoga. And we saw some really good 3-year-olds. So great talking points. It kind of kept horse racing in front of the spotlight for 5 weeks. And better yet, we've got good horses coming out of there to follow moving forward. So I thought it was good.
I could tell you this, that, the Belmont Stakes was the most watched sporting event on TV in the nation on Saturday. That's saying something.
Yeah, and hats off to the people who were able to go live through all that with all the long time between posts and everything else with those cancellations. There was a lot of non-racing, so they stuck around to watch the Belmont Stakes. That's pretty good stuff.
And the good thing about it is they had the money in their pocket, and what they didn't spend on those pick 5s and pick 4s and pick 3s that were canceled, they put in the pari-mutuel windows anyhow.
Yeah, I was surprised the handle didn't drop more because in New York, they lock up the CAWs out of the win pools with 2 or 3 minutes left to post, but they could still play all the rolling bets. And when all those rolling bets were canceled, I thought the CAW, the computer-assisted wager handle, would have dropped more than it actually did.
Well, we get into the last 4 days of the Hollywood meeting at Santa Anita before we switch over to the LA County Fair meet at Los Alamitos. I know you'll have Linda reports continuing in Southern California. And for this week, what's the rest of the plan for the Linda Report?
Right now, it's just looking like all Santa Anita Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They've got 12 races at Santa Anita Saturday, 12 more on Sunday. That's going to keep me busy. So, we'll probably just stay with Santa Anita. If I can find some time to mix in a late pick 5 at a different track, I will.
All right, you got it, my man. But I know you have a selection. Even though you don't have a Linda Report for Churchill Downs today, I know you looked at the races, and I got a feeling you'll be probably playing the races there at Churchill. So what do you got for us today?
Yeah, it's a good card today at Churchill Downs. Let's go to race number 5, a horse that's on my stable mail, and that's race 4, number 5, Trident Hit. Missed the break last time, got shuffled back into the first turn, got shuffled back to last on the far turn, and really finished well when he finally got clear. It's a better than looks race on paper. He won for the same $50,000 tag at Oakland in his previous start. Rider switched to Luis Saez, look for more tactical speed. 9-2 on the morning line, a real live horse today. Number 5, Trident Hit, race number 4, Churchill Downs.
All right, 4th race at Churchill Downs, the 4th race. Number 5, Trident Hit, the 5 in the 4th is your play. Now, you, Jonathan, and Dwayne came with picks in 3 consecutive races. So I've got a Siraco pick 3 play today. Your horse in the 4th race is the 5. Jonathan's horse in the 5th race is the 4. And Dwayne's horse in the 6th race is the 9. So I'm gonna play a Siraco pick 3 starting in the 4th race. And the numbers will be 5, 4, and 9 in that. And let's see if we can get all 3 of you guys with horses that hit the winner circle there for today at Churchill Downs. In any case, I want to remind everybody that John will be back in business when Santa Anita's Hollywood Meet starts tomorrow, a special Thursday card tomorrow. And in the meantime, we'll close down the Race Day show by enjoying some of the races today at Churchill Downs. In the meantime, since Jerry is not here, John's the man that we're going to lay the last saying on. Go ahead, John.
Have a great race day, everybody.